Hello IED, this video is all about finishing our modeling efforts on activity 1.2.3 with these construction block drawings we're going to be creating. After today and after this video, we will be creating actual drawings with isometrics and multi-view projections. But today, here in this video, we are just going to focus on getting the last two objects modeled. I have two triangular prisms shown here, as well as a rectangular prism and a cylinder. I've got videos on creating each of those. This is going to be all about finishing the last two objects, which are a little half cylinder or a half circle, as well as the arch. Let's go ahead and get modeling. I'm going to get rid of my menu here by clicking the waffle just to give us more space. I'm looking at my browser now, and I can see that we are in our parent level here, which is the title of our document, Construction Block Models, 6 of them there, and I have this active because the radio button is selected. So I'm ready to create a new component for these last two that I need to do. The first one is going to be the half circle, so I'm going to go ahead and select and create new component. I'm going to label that component as half. Let's go ahead and call it half cylinder. And hit OK. It will create a component for us with that title. The other components are now grayed out, and we are now ready to sketch. Now for the half cylinder, I want it oriented to where the flat surface is sitting down. And so I'm going to, in this occasion, I'm going to be sketching on the XY plane. I'm going to make sure I use my origin for that. I know that my first triangle that we drew, which we set on the origin, it's a little bit in the way, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. I'm going to click that eyeball icon just to get that out of the way, so that now when I create a sketch for the half cylinder, which is what is active here, I can see my origin just fine. That triangle is out of the way. I'm going to select the XY plane, which is indicated by the red and green axes here. I'm going to go ahead and sketch in that and turn that triangle back on, because I want to make sure I don't sketch over that. I want to know that it's there. I'm going to use my pan command to get all the way over here and start working in this open real estate outside of the cylinder that we created the last go around. And I'm going to use a center point circle to create what would be a cylinder, but we're going to make this a half cylinder. I selected the circle there once I started my sketch, and now I'm going to go ahead and just draw a circle. And I need to constrain to get this fully constrained because it's blue right now, which means I don't have all the constraints in. I need to control its size and its location. I'll do that with this sketch dimension command. You can also find that under the drop down menu for create. It's down here at the bottom. Mine is up here in this ribbon since I've got a little more space here. Let's go ahead and select that command by left clicking. I'm going to left click on my circle, and I'm going to give that a diameter. The diameter of this half cylinder is going to be 1 3/8 inch, or 1.375. 1.375. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. That controls the size of that that circle that we're drawing. We need to go ahead now and do a little more work here. I'm going to go ahead and make this a half cylinder first, and then I'm going to go ahead and control its location. So let's go ahead and move over to our line command. I'm going to select that by left clicking. And I'm going to work along this x-axis, and I'm going to draw a line. If you notice in my instance, because I do this on the axis, I have an object snap that leads me right to the intersection of that axis and the circle that we drew, as well as over here. You see that little blue X that pops up. I'm going to draw a line that connects these two. So I'm going to left click on this one here. I'm going to drag my cursor over. I'm going to left click on that intersection to draw a line that bisects our circle. Now I need to get rid of half of this. I need to trim this off, and that is actually what the command is called. It's called trim, and it is under modify here. It is the scissors little icon that you see. If you select that, whatever you hover your mouse over will turn purple, and that is what will trim out if you left click. In this case, I want to get rid of my lower half of the circle, the purple part that you see popping up there. So I'm going to left click on that, and it takes away that bottom half of the circle. And I knew to cut there because I drew this line that kind of separate that circle into two equal halves. That line helped us trim just this bottom half. I'm done with that command, so we can hit escape or enter, and we are now ready to just control the location of this circle. It's out kind of far. I want to bring this a little in closer to the origin, so we're going to use our dimension command. I'm going to select the origin. I'm going to select the center point of my circle, and I may take a couple guesses here at what this value will be. It's a random number, but I'm trying create roughly an equal space between each of my shapes. Let's start with 11 inches. Let's see where that puts us. And that's a pretty good first guess. I think that's going to be just fine. This space here between the circle and the cylinder is about the same as that. Maybe I could drop this down. Let's see what 10.5 looks like. That's a little too tight for my comfort. So I'm going to go with either 10.75 or 11. Either way would be fine. I think this looks good here. I'm going to leave it at 10.75. My circle is still blue, and the only reason why is because I haven't controlled its location. So let's try to see if we can set a vertical dimension. And it doesn't look like it's going to allow us to do that. And I think it's because we drew it here on our axis. We're not going to be able to control this distance here. So I don't know if we are going to, let's see if we can get into maybe a tangent constraint. Let's see if that would let us. No, that's not going to work either. We may just leave this one actually as, as not fully constrained, because right now it's going to be really difficult for me to be able to lock in this circle's location moving up and down. In some instances, it's definitely a best practice to try to do that. I'm wondering if maybe instead, I wonder if we can maybe reference the geometry of another object. That will do it for us. I'm going to lock this circle in based on the height of the cylinder we drew over there. Now I'm cooking. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. We got 2.25. We've fully constrained that side of the circle. I still have this blue edge here. Let's see if we can do the exact same thing for that line. Now, I like that. We have a fully constrained object. All the lines are black. I still use just my dimension command, but I was just referencing another one of my objects to lock that in. And now that I see that, running my horizontal dimensions, another thing we could have done to make sure these are exactly equal spaces between, rather than going over the origin, we could have grabbed the edge of the object and then put a space, a horizontal dimension in between each of these along the x-axis as we were sketching. It's okay though, because these don't need to be precise. What needs to be precise is what we do in our drawings. This is just a model. And so right now I think we are good to go. So I'm going to click Finish Sketch. I'm going to move over to my home orientation and my isometric just so I can see what's going on here. I'm going to go ahead and extrude this half circle, and this is going out 1 1/8 inches, so 1.125, and I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. We've now created that half circle. We have one more object or component to model, and we will be good to go. So I'm going to create that last component now. All the other ones are grayed out because I'm still in this half cylinder. So remember, we got to go back up to our parent. We've got to activate that for top-down modeling. Now we're ready to create one last component, and we are going to call this the arch. I'm going to hit OK. I'm now creating the arch, which is our sixth component. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. We are going to now sketch. So I'm going to create a sketch. I need to get over here to my origin, but again, that triangle, I get a little nervous. I don't know if I'm actually selecting the plane that's looking good. I think I can select it right there. I can tell that, see how that plane turns from orange to gray. That means I'm selecting the plane. If I'm here in the middle, I'm actually choosing one of the objects or one of the surfaces of that triangular prism. Don't want to do that. I'm going to grab this plane here. I don't need to turn this triangle off because I feel pretty confident I'm going to be getting into that XY plane. I'm going to scooch out here to the very end, and we have an arch now that we need to create, which is essentially a rectangular prism with a circle or a half cylinder that we're going to hollow out the middle of that. So we're going to start with a rectangle. I'm going to do this 2-point rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and start on my x-axis. If it'll let me here, there we go. Zooming in and out will help me kind of get some object snaps going there. That's where I can start to create my rectangle. I'm going to left click there. I'm going to drag this out and create a 2-point rectangle. All right, let's control the size of this real quick. We're going to make this a link, so I'm going to click on dimension. I'm going to left click on this top surface. I'm going to drag my dimension up. I'm going to place that dimension, and this is going to be 2.25 inches. We're going to extend that out a bit. Notice I am I'm nervous now because I see that I'm overlapping my half circle. We're going to have to take care of that with the location dimension before we finish the sketch. Otherwise, we're going to have some problems. So just kind of make note of that mentally. We're going to have to bump this thing further out. That's okay. Let's go ahead and make this height. The height of our rectangle is going to be 1 1/8 inch, so 1.125. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter there, make this a taller rectangle. I like that. And now we can try to insert a circle here and then trim some stuff out. So I'm going to go ahead and use the circle command, the center point circle. And I'm going to use, this is where an object snap is going to come in real handy. As I move my cursor towards the center of this rectangle on the bottom edge here, notice that you see that extra little triangle pop up. That is the object snap indication for the midpoint, which is the halfway point of this bottom line. And that is exactly where I want to start my circle. So I'm going to use that object snap to my advantage. Start here in the midpoint, and I'm going to create a circle there in the middle of my arch. Let's control some sizes. I'm going to use my dimension command. I'm going to left click on that circle. I'm going to make this a diameter of 1.5 inches. That looks good. Now I've got some extra stuff here that I need to get rid of. So we're going to go to our trim command. I'm going to left click. I'm going to get rid of the center of this rectangle that is no longer going to exist. I'm also going to get rid of the bottom half of our circle. And now I've created an arch structure that is pretty much good to go. Just remember we have this overlap and we are blue. So that means I need to fully constrain this. I'm going to go back to my dimension command and let's create some space here. So I'm going to select that surface. I'm going to select this origin. I'm going to place that. And let's send that out to say 13. A little too far. I don't like the space that I see there between my circle and arch. So I'm going to change that dimension by double clicking on it. I'll pull that back to 12. A little too tight. Let's go with 12.5. Perfect. I like the space that's there between the half circle and the cylinder. Maybe 12.25 would match it a little better with the space on that side. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there at 12.25. Just changing that dimension up a bit. I've got some constraints here with my left and right edges shown black, so I'm on the right track here. I'm going to go ahead and put a constraint on this top surface. I'm going to constrain that to the origin as well with a vertical dimension here. I'm going to leave that at its default value to lock that in. Now the last thing I need is control my circle's height. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to reference again in order to really lock in that circle. Let's see if this will do it for us. Just going to the center of the same object. Nope, it's saying I'm over constrained, and that's okay. This is never a bad message to get, because that just means we are trying to lock this thing in. We're doing the right work. We just accidentally threw one too many in, so I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel. I'm going to try this again with my dimension. This time around, let's reference the top of that cylinder. Let's see if that helps. Nope, still doesn't work. Bingo, I got it. What we're going to do is we're going to use this dimension command, and we are going to go from the center of the circle. We need to just locate this left to right. That's what we're missing. And so I'm going to go from the center of the circle out here to one of the edges of my rectangle. I'm going to lock that in as the center within that rectangular prism. Take that value. Now all of our lines are black. We are fully constrained. We can make this arch. Let's finish sketch. Let's go to our home view. Let's extrude. And let's make this a distance of, again, 1 1/8 inch. Hit OK. Folks, we have now all 6 of our models, all 6 being fully constrained. Let's make sure these all look the same by just going up to our parent view and making it active there, where they're now all the same shade. This is looking very nice with all of these models. And now we are ready to get a title block template, which is going to be a future video, as well as setting up our isometric title page and then our multi-view drawing pages as well. When we're all done with this, we'll be exporting to a PDF. Great work today. I'll catch you in the next video.